Zach is an awesome new standalone character mod that will channel your inner gambler by turning the entire run into a casino with his cool mechanics. Each cleared room will grant him a poker chip that is displayed in the top left corner of your screen. The chips are needed to roll his pocket item called Snake Eyes. Using the dice will consume all of your poker chips and then trigger a random event out of a big pool. It can grant you stats, drop pickups or even items. But there are obviously not only good outcomes. Rolling Snake Eyes can also result in bad events like reducing your stats, adding random curses or spawn enemies. You can collect multiple chips up to a maximum of 20. The more chips you put into one dice roll, the higher the chance to get one of the positive outcomes. The first 8 chips in your stack will always be green ones, those grant 7% each for a good result. The next 7 orange chips grant 4% each, and the final 5 red chips only add 1% to the total. This means you can reach a maximum chance of 89% for a good outcome by collecting all 20 chips from 20 cleared rooms. Clearing rooms while already holding 20 will be a waste. But never forget, 89% is not 100, you can always run into a bad outcome even with the best possible odds on your side. It is up to you how risky you want to play Zach. You could go for many high risk or fewer low risk rolls. A good strategy could be to use all the green chips for a 56% chance every 8 rooms. But clearing rooms is not the only way for Zach to get new chips. The shops in his runs will contain less offers in exchange for a poker table where you can buy 1 chip for 2 pennies. And just like said before, it is up to you if you want to put all your chips into one big roll or many risky rolls. But be aware that a single green chip is just a 7% chance. It is also important to know that the offered poker chips are not endless, each table will only sell a set amount of them. However, this changes if you manage to get Zach's Birthright. It is called Play Till Your Last Penny and causes poker tables to sell new chips infinitely. But that's not all, the Birthright will also make a poker table spawn in the starting room of all floors that don't usually have shops, making them accessible the entire run. Now that you know how Zach works, it is time to look into the Snake Eyes outcomes in detail. I will quickly showcase all of them and you can decide on your odd strategy. If you roll a positive outcome, 1 of 7 events can occur. The most common one, at 25% chance, is a small increase in one of your stats. It can be either damage, tears, speed or luck. The second possible outcome, Gubbins, has a 15% chance to be a positive result. Getting it will spawn a random selection of runes, soulstones and or trinkets. The rarest possible positive outcome, with a chance of just 7%, is Jackpot, and drops a handful of coins. They will mostly be pennies, but it can also contain nickels and dimes. The Royal Flush outcome has a 15% chance to come up as your positive result. It drops a few random cards. The second rarest positive result at 8% is Pick Me Up, which will drop a few random heart pickups on the ground. They can even be rare ones like gold hearts or bone hearts. The Sweepstake outcome has a 10% chance to be your positive event. It will spawn a treasure room item for Zach to be taken. Simple but powerful. The final positive one, with a chance of 20%, introduces a new mechanic called Perks that influences Zach's entire run. There are 6 different perks that can be obtained, and each of them permanently grants a passive ability for Zach. The Lucky Hand perk simply adds a passive 5% chance to get a positive outcome out of your rolls. This means you have a 12% chance with 1 green chip and a 94% chance with all 20 chips combined. The multi-dice perk causes your snake eyes to trigger an additional event for each roll. The second outcome will always mimic the nature, which means good or bad, of the first one. The cheap bets perk will reduce the cost of the poker chips at the poker table from 2 pennies to just 1 penny. The high stakes perk grants all of your positive outcomes that drop pickups a chance to drop one more of that type of pickup. The double down perk will slightly increase the stat upgrades of your rolled boosts. For example, the plus 0.5 damage turns into plus 0.7. And the last perk, Charged Rolls, grants a small chance to drop a battery whenever you use your Snake Eyes item. Now that we have seen all the positive outcomes, it is time to look into all the possible negative ones. The most common one, at a chance of 30%, is an opponent, and it does exactly that, spawning some enemies. It is worth to note that the doors don't close, you can just leave the room. Just like with the positive ones, you can also get stat downgrades, but they are a bit lower than the stat upgrades. The chance for a stat down as your bad result is 25%. Ramen pills has a 15% chance to occur and will force you to consume a random pill out of the current run's pill pool. This can of course be both good or bad, depending on the pill.
I can see forever.
The cursed outcome has a 10% chance to happen and is self-explanatory. It adds a random curse to the floor. And the last bad outcome with a chance of 20% are the traits, which are the counterpart to the positive perks. You can have a total of 3 combined perks and or traits. There are only 4 traits contrary to the 6 perks. The first one, Fragile Dice, grants a small chance for your snake eyes to quote unquote fail and drop a dice shard instead. The second one, Heavy-Handed, is just an empty trait that has no actual gameplay effect besides blocking a perk and trait slot. It makes Zach throw his dice further. The Slim Odds trait reduces the chance of a positive roll outcome by 5%, probably the worst one you can have. The only contender for that title might be the Bankrupt trait, which raises the price of poker chips in the shop to 3 cents. Having it and cheap bets at the same time will cancel them out. Once again, remember that you can only have a total of 3 perks and or traits. It might be a good tactic to go for less risky rolls until you have 3 perks active in your run. This was all the outcomes, perks, traits and abilities of Zach and his trusty Snake Eyes item. It is now up to you to decide how you want to play him. May Fortuna be on your side and please don't get addicted.
He's the number one.
Isaac!
God's favorite son. His flowing robes reach down from